Did it work? It said record. Hi, Karen. It's really nice to see you now that we're both in the Marin Headlands in the Zoom virtual world.
Oh, Katie, I am so happy to see you as always, and really wish that we had wine to commemorate this occasion of both of us being here, but well, next time.
Next time we can just like take a real picture of ourselves overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge. Friends, if you're listening and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? So Zoom has like virtual backgrounds that you can so instead of what you're sitting in, like the person who's looking at you is looking at a beautiful virtual background, which right now is the sun setting over the Golden Gate Bridge for both of us. Because yeah, I'm in my car and you are in a different place than a traditional office.
Correct. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Thank you, Zoom, for this. And oh my God, Katie, you know what I just remembered?
Oh, please.
That okay. So listeners, as you know, we skipped last week. Chaos ensued. But this week's episode was going to be our 4-year anniversary episode.
Oh my God, that's right. It is. It's our 4-year anniversary, Karen. We are such colossal badasses.
Oh my
Also,
God.
4 years. Friends,
4 years.
4 years. We have been together for an entire high school experience. We are
Yes.
seniors graduating and going off to college. I mean, wow, Karen, 4 years. Truly, though, that's amazing.
It really is amazing. I still can't. I feel like even when you sent the invite and I was like, 4-year anniversary. What the hell? Our first episode came out July 27th, I believe.
Oh,
2020. Yeah.
that's amazing. 2020. It also feels like 100 years ago and yesterday, and time is melting every day. And so, like, it's so amazing. It's also, I love that we're so accommodating for our life stages and things that have come and gone in our lives in 4 years, which is a lot. Like, it's kind of like a book length amount of change that has happened for both of us.
Agreed. And I feel like a lot of people listening, and I feel like I know we've done at least one episode on change and adjusting to change, but we got to revisit this issue because, yeah, you and I both are in times of transition. And someone recently reminded me that transitions are painful but can be beautiful. Just think about a caterpillar and like the strife of turning into a butterfly. And I just feel like a slimy in pain caterpillar right now. And I'd like to bust out.
I love that metaphor. I want to bust out too. I feel like a one cell organism before it becomes a caterpillar. But yes, I get what you're saying. There is a lot of pain. It's a lot of, oh my gosh, transitions are so hard. And then I think, like, am I always in transition in some way? Maybe, but like when it's acute, it is acute. And I feel like it is pretty acute in both of our lives. And yeah, it would be really interesting to talk about change again because our lives have changed truly so much. I mean, honestly, like we're physically in different locations than we were 4 years ago. We're spiritually and mentally and all of the things. So is our country, so is I don't know, everything. It's just, yeah, it's interesting. I had a funny conversation with a friend the other day. Her name is Crystal. She's a stand-up comedian here in Bend. She's actually amazing. And we were talking about how we have chosen, both of us are partnered, and we've chosen not to have children. And she's like, you know how when people say that they have like a really big, like they have so much on their plate, and it's just, oh my God, I have so much on my plate. And I was like, yeah, yeah. And she's like, well, I have a tapas size plate. And I was like, and she's like, so I can only have a few things on my plate. And I was like, I think I have a tea saucer. Like, I was like, I don't think I have.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm
Mhm.
still working on that metaphor, but I think it's actually very apropos for, um, even I'm not on my plate sometimes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Ooh, I do love that because I think your plate grows the more you put on it, right? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I
Totally.
like
And
this metaphor. I
I
know
like
our
it
sound. Okay,
too.
wait. I
I
don't
know
even know if our sound
our
is bad.
sound is glitchy. Sorry, friends. We are making it work, but it is glitchy as hell. So it's okay. Yeah, I think my plate gets turned over sometimes, and I'm just like swimming next to the plate. I'm just really reaching with this. I'll get back to you on the rest of the metaphor, but okay. So last night, Karen, I watched the Daily Show where Jon Stewart interviewed Pete Buttigieg and they talked about the vetting process for the vice president. And I find all of this fascinating because there are so many leaks, there are so many things that are going to be coming out with the Democratic National Convention, but I don't know, it's just on my mind, so that's why I brought it up.
Yes, and I haven't been like watching the Daily Show enough to know if he's just part of their rotation. After Trevor Noah left, right, they've had all of these comedians on for
Totally.
these stretches. So I don't know the whole Jon Stewart thing, but yes, but I just watched him. Yeah, it was just like very nostalgic to watch him back. Yeah, I was surprised how much I enjoyed. Like, oh right, I used to watch this all the time.
All the time, all the time. I mean, Jon Stewart was like the primary source of news for me, honestly. And I think he's doing it like every Monday night. I think that's his thing. But yeah, it's just interesting this whole VP
Too.
process and like what is going to happen and all the things. I don't know. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Right. Well, and so I don't know. I don't know if you feel like that's a good segue to our topic this week.
It's a perfect segue. Let's do it.
Okay, so, you and I are having a conversation about politics in the United States right now. This is a safe space for us. It is just you and I. We own the show. We can say whatever we want. I have limitations because of my job, but you know, there will be times in our lives where we are in political conversations that we have not consented to, that we do not want to be in, that go ways that we do not want them to go. And so today, listeners, as our contribution to service journalism, we are going to offer some ideas for how to gracefully pivot from these conversations, these non-consensual political conversations.
This is such a brilliant idea, Karen. Thank you so much for bringing it up because I just feel like unfortunately, I feel like in my life there are many non-consensual political conversations happening, and it's hard. It's really hard to kind of keep it moving. Like you don't know how to keep it moving, and sometimes you feel, or at least for me, I don't want to say you, like just I know that I feel like kind of um like just kind of what was I gonna say? Like kind of like trapped, I guess is the word. Like sometimes I feel trapped. And so I know I talked about this on a previous pod. But yeah, like I definitely think that it's a great idea to talk about this stuff because I think it's just a lot of people are finding themselves. I mean, I think a lot of people are finding themselves in political conversations like with their barista at the coffee shop or with the person who like they run into when they're walking their dog and it's just like, oh shit, I was listening to a really fun Beyonce song and now I'm talking about Trump.
Right? Like exactly, yes, exactly these conversations. And like, yeah, I just was having a conversation with somebody about mortgage interest rates. And, that is an inherently political conversation because the state of politics impacts mortgage interest rates. And it was a very benign, I feel like the person having a conversation with me like handled it really well and we both were kind of laughing, but I don't know where he stands. And I feel like that was very savvy of him to present it in a way that like didn't tip his hand at all. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's actually a really interesting thing because like, so you don't know how this person, like which way they lean. That's an
Mm-mm.
interesting concept because yeah, I find that after living in San Francisco for so long, I unfortunately became incredibly skewed thinking that the whole world was liberal, which obviously isn't the case. But I have been burned a few times in Bend where I will begin conversations just with that assumption and then realize like, oh shit, I need to check myself. And so it's better to just be able to pivot away, like you said, to like something else.
Yes. All right. So exactly. That is exactly it. That was my inspiration. So, all right. Some of our ideas for pivoting away from a political conversation that you do not want to have. Faking a phone call.
Brilliant.
Just bust your phone out of your pocket and be like, oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I got to take this. My broker's calling.
Yes. My agent for my new Netflix special is calling. Or you could be like, oh my God, my parent or my, like my friend is in crisis, I have to go, or anything. I mean, no one's gonna fight you on that.
No, no, I got to take this. I mean, and as you and I talked about earlier, Katie, like you and I were raised as polite Midwestern girls,
Yep.
and you don't interrupt people. You don't, it can be hard to get, actually, as I'm thinking about it, it is hard to get out of any conversation you don't want to be in.
It's so real. That's so real. It totally
So,
is. Especially when the person is like hot. Like when they're really, I'm not talking about like attractive, I'm talking about like they are hot on it. Like they want to talk about this. Like they're like really, they're like all amped, and it's just I mean, my one of my ideas is to, is to be like, "Oh my God, I have I mean, I don't know if I would actually do this. This is not as graceful, but like I have IBS and I have to go to the bathroom. Like, it's like I had a burrito and I'm not doing well. I gotta go. No one is going to fight you on that. But I
oh
mean,
my God.
but I think the graceful way of doing that is like being like, "Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Like, I really have to run to the restroom really fast." Or like something like that's like more polite because then like I mean, it can be abrupt, but it's also like no one's gonna be like, "No, please pee your pants in front of me," or take a shit.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh man, I shouldn't have had that Activia for breakfast. Give me a minute here.
Give me a minute. Oh gosh, that's so real.
See you never.
Yeah, exactly. Bye. I'm leaving. Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. So you had another awesome idea.
Right. So this is a little ridiculous. And I mean, the truth is that this has actually happened to me. Um, choke on nothing, cough uncontrollably, and excuse yourself to get a cup of water.
Yes. Okay. So do you mean, just to clarify, choking uncontrollably? Like, have you ever like inhaled water into your lungs and then you actually do choke uncontrollably and like your eyes are watering and you have to like tell everyone like you're not dying, like that kind of thing? That has happened to me so many times.
Yes, exactly. Like, and I'm not drinking anything. I'm not doing anything. I am literally just breathing.
Yes, that's also happened to me. Like it's like I'm like, what the hell? Like, is this an age thing? Like what? Yeah.
But, I mean, coughing uncontrollably and then, like you're just doubled over and you're waving your hands in the air, like,
Yes.
yeah. And then just hightail it the fuck out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, just get out. Get out. Oh my gosh. I mean, I want to be like, I don't know, like I want to be I want to think, and I don't think this is real, but like I do think that sometimes I wish that I could just be vulnerable and just say like, "Hey, so the political conversations are really giving me anxiety and I have dealt with anxiety and depression a lot of my life, so I'm just gonna like just, see you later." And like they would just be like, "Okay." And like I don't think that would happen. I don't think that would work for like a graceful exit though.
I mean, you're reminding me though, I mean, this was many years ago, was at like a networking event. And I started talking about politics. Who knows? It was like a feminist, it was like a women's networking event. But at the time, that is, we were talking about politics a lot. Tells you how long ago that was. And this woman got real, like her body language completely changed. Like her back got super straight. She got
Oh.
very steely. Yeah. And was like, I do not want to talk about this. And
Oh.
it was like she slapped me. Like it was so abrupt. Yeah, I really, I mean, I remembered all these years later because it was so like, I like, lady, look, I get it. You don't want to talk about it, but like it really flipped a switch for her. And I was like, oh man, I don't ever want to do that to somebody in a conversation. Like, you don't want to talk about it. There's a better way to handle it than to like make me feel like, oh, well, I don't want to talk to you
Yeah,
about anything at all. And like, yeah, that
totally.
I had said something like so, I don't know. Again, it was just very yeah, it was just weird. It made me feel
Yeah.
weird.
I bet it did because it's like you didn't do anything wrong. It sounds like she brought an enormous amount of baggage to that conversation that had nothing to do with you, but like you got the brunt of it.
Completely. And yeah, I feel like, yeah, I would like to avoid, like, I feel like this kind of joking conversation is a way to like back out, but not make it so like socially like difficult or so uncomfortable. It was
Yeah.
unnecessarily uncomfortable.
Totally, totally. I love that. Okay, scratch that, reverse. I'm not going to say anything about depression or anxiety because I actually feel like it makes it more serious. And it just kind of like, I just feel like you fall into an abyss of seriosity, which is not a word, but I just made it up. And so, like, I don't want to, like, life is already so fucking serious. And, like, gosh, you just turn on the TV, it's so serious, or the news or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, one idea I do have that I just came to me is like, I mean, it's abrupt, but like after having a coughing attack, you could be like, "Oh my God, this reminds me of this like really funny stand-up show on Netflix." Or like, "What are you watching?" Like, I don't know. It could just be or if you're around other people, you could be like, "Hey, Fred, like, what are you up to?" I don't know. I clearly am not very good at this.
You and Wilma still gonna go to Tahoe this weekend? Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, I feel like we could also, I guess I don't, oh, I should know when the Olympics dates are, but you could also use the Olympics as an out. Like, oh man, I'm not watching politics at all right now. I'm obsessed with Simone or Coco. Oh,
Ooh.
Coco's out, but and Simone, the gymnastics are done. I don't know. You could pivot to the Olympics.
I love that. I mean, this is like a master class from Karen Hawkins. Seriously, Karen, I'm learning so much. I am adding nothing, but I really appreciate you telling me because, like, that's a great idea actually to think of the other things that are going on in the world that are more positive. And even though Simone is like, I think the gymnastics are done, I just finished the Simone documentary, which is called Rising. Everybody, it's on Netflix and it's excellent. It's so good. It's episodic. I think they're going to do another episode after this Olympics. But like even then, you could be like, "Oh my God, did you see like I haven't been watching because I watched Simone when she was doing the Olympic stuff, and even though that's done now, I just picked up the documentary and it's so amazing." Like that kind of thing. Like there are actually a lot of Olympic documentaries out right now, like that have to do with like Sha'Carri Richardson, who I cannot wait to see. And then also like Jesse Owens has a cool documentary out, and like there's a lot to kind of talk about in that way.
Oh my God. Oh no.
We're killing it, Karen. We are doing so well. We're doing so amazingly well. Okay, back to the Olympics though. Great idea. Love that.
Oh my gosh, what was I gonna? Oh, okay. And oh my gosh, we're short on time. So shout out to my people operations team at work because, they do these sometimes absurd icebreakers. They were the ones that came up with the like, would you eat an egg from a stranger question?
Oh, right. Yes.
Yes. And this week's icebreaker question was, what is a mundane activity that you think should be an Olympic sport?
Oh, I love that.
I know it was really people's responses were also very funny. Gossiping was my favorite one.
Oh my God, I love that. Who can gossip the best?
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh, what did other people say?
Mine was journaling. Like imagine Olympic journaling. But
Yes, I love
yeah,
that.
I loved gossiping. Gossiping like another like somebody else was like instead of gossiping was like spilling tea.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Gardening. I mean, yeah, like making brownies. Like they were really
Yes, I love
they were
that.
good.
Like making the best pot of coffee. Like also watering plants correctly. Like that's which would have to be a long-term thing because you couldn't tell if the plants died. But yeah, it could have like, I don't know, like over time, like video. Anyway, I love that.
Ooh,
I love that.
yes, it was really it was good to also like they yeah, it was funny to like even think about it because I feel like every Olympics we see something that's a sport that it's just like, oh, I could do that. No, you couldn't. To be clear. No, no, actually you couldn't. Also,
Totally.
what could you do?
Yeah, I love that. I think there's actually, I think I saw a segment somewhere about like all these different sports that want there. It's something called the World Games, which apparently is
Mm.
happening, I think in September. Apparently the World Games happens after every Olympics, but it's like such a smaller thing that it's like not as publicized. But apparently it's kind of like the breeding ground for new Olympic sports. And like one of them is this thing where you walk around with a machete and you chop off like what is it? Like ropes that are hanging. And so you just like chop off the rope. And I'm like, how is that? What the hell is that? So yeah, it's I don't know, World Games. I'll put it in the show notes if anyone's interested in watching the wannabe Olympic sports. So yeah.
Oh my God. I love it.
I love it too. Okay,
Podcasting, I mean, Olympic podcasting, let's do it.
I mean, we're already gold medalists money 4 times over. Well, maybe just once because we've only well, we this is our second Olympic cycle, I guess.
The Summer Games.
Summer Games, Karen and Katie for the win. Yes, there's not even a silver. It's just the two of us on gold on the podium. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. All right. Well, this has been fun, and thank you so much for this idea, Karen. And everyone follow Karen's advice, not mine. So, like, this is great. And we also commiserate with all of you because everyone's dealing with it right now. These non-consensual political conversations are constant for most people.
Yes, and I feel like we would be remiss if we did not say, if you are willing to have a political conversation with someone perhaps you do not agree with, please see our previous 8 episodes with the luminous Dr. Tanya Israel, especially this last one. She's got a new book coming out August 13th, and it is all about how to have these conversations with grace and with compassion for yourself and for other people. And we love you, Dr. Tanya.
Yes, we love you so much, Dr. Tanya, and we would love to know how you feel about this new development with a new candidate in this new election. So it feels like, yeah, we'll be hitting you up. So yes, everyone check out her book. I'll put the link in the show notes for that too. And thank you, Karen, and thanks everybody for listening. We'll see everybody next week.